Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes, biology session, transport in living beings. In the last class, we have studied about what is the necessity of transport and the basic concepts related to transport in plants, okay, in higher plants. So actually the means of transport in plants, there are three main means of transport. What are the children? We have concluded by saying that there are three main means of transport in plants. They are diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport. Okay, you know very well the long distance transport occurring through vascular tissue in the plants. What are they? Xylem and phloem. What is that process called? Translocation. Okay, once again I am repeating the concept which we have learnt yesterday. Translocation, the long distance transport occurring through vascular tissues, xylem and phloem, is called translocation. Okay, the passage of materials into and out of the cells is carried out by a number of methods. Some important methods are diffusion, facilitated diffusion and active transport, especially in plants. And let us know briefly about this diffusion. Okay, how the diffusion occur? Diffusion occurs along the concentration gradient. It is a passive transport. What is the meaning of passive transport? It occurs without using the energy, and here no energy is utilized. Then what is facilitated diffusion? It occurs along the concentration gradient. It is also passive transport. Here also no energy is utilized, but it occurs through fixed membrane transport proteins. It occurs through fixed membrane transport proteins. This we are going to study in detail today. Okay, and active transport means it occurs against the concentration gradient, means from low concentration to high concentration, and it employ or it uses ATP, energy, metabolic energy, ATP, and it takes place what do you call uphill transport, and it is faster than the passive transport. Okay, so let us enter into today's class. Are you ready, children? Means of transport in plants: diffusion. The substance move from higher concentration region to lower concentration region. It is a slow process and occurs most likely in liquids and gases. Okay, in which medium diffusion occurs? In liquids and gases. It is a slow process. It occurs from high concentration to low concentration. How long it occurs? It occurs until the concentration becomes equal on both sides, until it attains the equilibrium. In plants, diffusion is the only means of transport for gases. The rate of diffusion depends on the gradient of concentration, pressure, temperature and permeability of membrane separating them. Okay, so this is exceptional. Permeability of membrane separating them is exceptional, but remaining gradient of concentration is the main. Then pressure, temperature, these three main factors on which the diffusion depends. Okay, in the yesterday's class we have learned that the water enters into the plant by means of osmosis, but whereas the mineral salts enters by the process of diffusion. Okay, so you see here the water absorbed by the roots by osmosis, then water travels through the plant and The water evaporates from the leaf surface by a process called transpiration. So this transpiration maintains the continuous column. Okay. Next, facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion. So the presence of gradient is important for the process of diffusion, and its rate depends on the size of substance. It is important to note that smaller substances diffuse faster as compared to larger ones. Okay, this is the main concept involved in facilitated diffusion. What is that main concept? Smaller substances diffuse faster as compared to larger ones, and the presence of gradient, concentration gradient, okay, high concentration to low concentration, it takes place. Okay. Along with the size, the rate of diffusion also depends on solubility in lipids and the major constituent of the membrane. Okay, that is membrane means plasma membrane. Okay. So another factor on which this facilitated diffusion depends is solubility in lipids and the major constituent of the membrane. The major constituent of the membrane is proteins, lipoproteins. Proteins are the main constituent. So the substances with hydrophilic moiety are difficult to pass via membrane, and therefore its movement is facilitated. The meaning is, the substances with hydrophilic moiety means which have the ability to dissolve in water. If it is hydrophobic, it can easily dissolve in the lipids, but the substances with hydrophilic moiety are difficult to pass via membrane. So that's why its movement is facilitated. Okay. So here outside, so not all molecules are passing through this membrane. Okay. To inside only few. There are some in 10 number, more than 10 are there here, the molecules, but here only 4. Slowly the entry taking place depending upon the hydrophilic moiety. If it is hydrophilic, then it is retained here itself, outside only. Okay. If it is not hydrophilic, then it is coming out. Okay. So this kind of diffusion is called a facilitated diffusion. Next, in the facilitated diffusion, so this is the plasma membrane. So the diffusing particles, some substances are involved, no? That is carrier proteins in the membrane. It also determines the facilitated diffusion. In this facilitated diffusion, the site is provided by membrane proteins at which such molecules are able to cross the membrane. Okay. The carrier proteins in the membrane will determine the passage of the molecules. The concentration gradient is already present for molecules to diffuse even if the facilitated by protein, and this process is referred to as facilitated diffusion. Okay. Then active transport means facilitated diffusion also, it is a passive process. There is no utilization of energy. Okay. So this facilitated diffusion, actually it depends on carrier proteins and channel proteins. The carrier proteins means they bind the particular solute to be transported. Okay. And also some proteins, carrier proteins, allow two types of molecules move across the membrane called co-transport. Okay. So that is you will learn in a higher class, the symport, antiport, uniport, like that. Okay. Whereas The second type is channel proteins. They allow the diffusion of the solutes. So it takes place by two ways, that is ion channel and porins. You will study in the higher classes. Okay, but here you remember the concept, facilitated diffusion also it takes place passively. Okay, now active transport means diffusion and facilitated diffusion, these two are passive transports. Now active transport. Active transport uses the energy in the form of ATP in the process of pumping molecules against the concentration. Okay, it uses ATP and the process takes place against the concentration, means from low concentration to high concentration. So here see the facilitated diffusion again. So the concentration is always taking place from diffusion, and facilitated diffusion occur from high concentration to low concentration, for which no energy is utilized. Okay, here in the in this facilitated transport, the transmembrane protein carries the changes the shape to facilitate the entry and exit of some nutrients, for example fructose. Okay, so why? Because the fructose, glucose, these are all hydrophilic molecules. Okay, in order to pass those substances, the shape, if it is like this, it won't pass. So it changed the shape here, see. Okay, that is facilitation, facilitated diffusion. After changing the shape, the molecule is coming out through the membrane. Okay, so this kind of the transport in plants is called facilitated diffusion. Okay, now let us know more about the active transport. In the active transport, the ATP donates a phosphate to a particular gateway molecule, which then pumps the desired molecule across membrane, even if it goes opposite concentration gradient. Okay, so in this active transport, the ATP molecule energy, so you see here the ATP molecule. So here the minerals, some sugars and most amino acids move against a concentration gradient with an input of energy. So when the energy is used, then these molecules are passed through the membrane. So this kind of transport is called as active transport. Only you remember, the transport which takes place by the utilization of energy is called active transport. Okay, it takes place opposite concentration gradient, against the concentration gradient, means from low concentration to high concentration also it takes place, because energy is helping. So thus the energy of ATP is used to drive the pump. The next one is osmosis. So osmosis is the movement of solvent, that is water molecules, from the region of their higher diffusion pressure or free energy to the region of their lower diffusion pressure or free energy across a semi-permeable membrane. Across a semi-permeable membrane. Actually this osmosis takes place two ways, endoosmosis and exoosmosis. Endoosmosis is the osmotic entry of water into a cell, and exoosmosis means, exoosmosis is the osmotic withdrawal of water from a cell. So here see once again the osmosis, it is a spontaneous movement of solvent, that is water molecules, through a cellular membrane or plasma membrane, living membrane. This is a special kind of diffusion that moves water molecules from a place of high concentration to a place of lower concentration to create a stable and equal cellular environment. To create a stable and equal cellular environment. Okay, it involves osmotic pressure. Okay, that you will study in higher class. let us know more about the osmosis. The cell of the plant is surrounded by a cell wall. Beneath that, a cell membrane. The wall of the cell is freely permeable to substances in solution and water, and therefore is not a barrier for the movement. Okay, the wall is not a barrier for the movement. The plant cell contains a large vacuole with the vacuolar sap. Okay, vacuolar sap means the fluid present inside the vacuole and contributes to the solute potential of the cell. Okay, so here osmosis in plants, the three conditions: isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic conditions. Means depending upon the concentration, the vacuolar sap, first one is isotonic, means same as that of external environment, the concentration is. Hypotonic means less concentration compared to the external environment. Hypertonic means the vacuolar sap concentration is more compared to external environmental solution concentration. Okay, so in plant cell, the membrane of the vacuole, cell membrane, it is called as tonoplast, are the important determinants of the movement of molecules. Okay, see here, this is the vacuole. The membrane surrounding the vacuole is called tonoplast. So first condition is isotonic. Isotonic condition, both the concentration in the internal vacuolar sap and outside the cell same. Okay, this condition is called as flaccid condition. Okay, the turgid condition is the normal condition. Flaccid conditions means dry condition. Okay, hypotonic means low concentration compared to external environment. So here the concentration is same, also some water is lost from the cell, so that is flaccid condition. But turgid condition, no loss of water from the cell, normal condition. But plasmolized means hypertonic. When the concentration inside the vacuolar sap is more compared to the external environment, then the total water present in the cell will goes out to maintain the osmotic balance. So the cell is plasmolized. Okay, shrinkage occur. This is the osmosis in a plant cell. Then the means of transport in the plants. Next concept is the plasmolysis. Plasmolysis means it is the shrinkage of protoplast of a cell from its cell wall under the influence of a hypertonic solution is called plasmolysis. The term plasmolysis is defined as the contraction of the protoplasm of the cell within plants due to loss of water through osmosis. Okay, it is called plasmolysis. In other words, the behavior of plant tissues or cells regarding the movement of water depends on surrounding solution, and this process occurs when water is drawn out of the cell through the process of osmosis, exosmosis. Okay, the total water will be lost from the cell when the condition is hypertonic, means the concentration is more inside the cell compared to external environment. So this plasmolysis process occur. The contraction of the protoplasm of the cell within the plants due to loss of water through osmosis is called plasmolysis. So osmosis occurs when the cell has higher concentration as compared to its surrounding. See here, it is a normal cell, then the cells showing contraction of cytoplasm, then plasmolysing solution means the loss of water is taking place. The cell is plasmolysed. See, the content of the cell is reduced here. Okay, we can say due to the withdrawal of water from cytoplasm and central vacuole of the cell, the size of the protoplasm reduces. Okay, this is the first stage of plasmolysis. Plasmolysis. It is called limiting plasmolysis. The extra hypertonic external solution continues to withdraw from the central vacuole by exoosmosis, means the water coming out through the membrane, okay, and causes an incipient plasmolysis. The second stage, it is called as incipient plasmolysis. At this stage, hypertonic solution enters the cell in between the protoplast and the cell wall. So due to continued exoosmosis, the protoplast shrinks. Okay, further it is known as the evident plasmolysis. Final one is evident plasmolysis. Okay, so this is the evident plasmolysis. It continues once again. The swelling of the plasmolyzed protoplast under the influence of hypotonic solution is called deplasmolysis. Okay, it is once again if it reverse of this plasmolysis is called deplasmolysis. Okay, the swelling up of the plasmolyzed protoplast under the influence of hypotonic solution is called deplasmolysis. It is possible only immediately after the plasmolysis and shows endoosmosis. Means because the cell shrinkage, if it continues, the cell may die. So immediately next osmosis, the endoosmosis takes place to recover. So during that endoosmosis, deplasmolysis occur. Okay, so this is about the plasmolysis. Next, plasmolysis depends on three types of solution. What are they? Isotonic solution, hypotonic solution, and hypertonic solution. What is isotonic solution? The middle one. It is the condition when the external solution balances the osmotic pressure of the cytoplasm. External solution balances the osmotic pressure of the cytoplasm. It is called isotonic, equal, flaccid condition. Next, hypotonic. In this case, external solution is dilute as compared to cytoplasm. External solution is dilute as compared to cytoplasm. So this condition is the turgid condition. Okay, and hypertonic. In hypertonic condition, the external solution is more concentrated compared to internal cytoplasm. So water oozes out. Here water enters inside. Here equally water goes in, comes out. Okay. So this is a plasmolyzed condition, hypertonic. Okay, when the cell is placed in the high concentrated solution, this takes place, plasmolysis. Okay, means of transport in plants. Okay, read the lesson. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.